Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, tmosso@the1916company.com for all of your purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we're discussing a 2024 limited edition of 1,000 pieces in steel. This is reference 3716-29, the -29, the year of the dragon. So 1,000 pieces for the Chinese year of the dragon. As the Chinese zodiac calendar goes, year of the dragon is one of the best. Iconic of Chinese culture, even if you're not Chinese, the combination of visual punch and cool cultural associations makes this something that just about anyone could wear and enjoy. With a red wine color scheme combined with rich rose gold, it is a fetching combo, and in the Portugieser Chronograph, a more wearable Portugieser. Originally launched back in 1998, the Portugieser Chronograph became the all-time best-selling Portuguese model. It was updated as reference 3716 for the 150th anniversary back in 2018, now featuring a IWC built movement and display caseback, so it gets a mechanical upgrade. But since it's always been a smaller Portuguese, it's also more wearable for most of us who do not necessarily play well with 42 to 46 millimeter watches. 41 in diameter, it's 13.3 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 48.5 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. I'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. It wears beautifully. Now, even with an integrated strap, which has a little bit of stiffness and flare, this will wear easily on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters. And you can see the curvature of the case really helping in the fit here. My wrist is 16, and you can see over the top, the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. And down the barrel, which is the truest angle for fit, it's also true. While it does have a little bit of a cantilever to the bezel, I find it will fit underneath most cuffs, including dress sleeves. Now, that's what I mean when I say there's a bit of stiffness to the strap, because it conforms to the edge of the case. It can't be flexed completely the way a standard strap can. You can see here on my Garrick, I can pull the strap straight down because there's no impediment to its motion, whereas here, there's a little bit of stiffness, but it doesn't really impede the fit. As I just demonstrated, your eye doesn't lie. So if you saw it on my wrist and your wrist is anywhere near my size, it's going to fit well. It's a little texture molded in. It's very thick. It feels like it'll last all of a decade. The decade strap is really the gold standard for strap life, and being made of a rubber composite, it really should go the distance. Here we have a folding clasp, not universal on IWC watches, so nice to see here. A folding clasp, of course, protecting you from accidental droppage. And then you can see that it says Unrock inside, which is the reverse of the manufacturer's name, Cornu. It's always nice to know where buckles and bracelets and cases and clasps are made. Now you can see a combination of Media Blast, polish, satin finish, and the IWC motto, Probus Scafusia. Good, solid watch made in Schaffhausen. It says so as well on the crown. We have vintage pump-style pushers here. Portugieser case band, so blended lugs that taper down, polished lug hoods, polished bezel, and then a dial with a glossy red wine gleam. You can practically see yourself in this mirrored lacquer surface. Rose gold garnishing. You can see we've got a nice vertically arrayed twin register dial, and between the logos and the registers, we have a nice cruciform symmetry. Outboard, there's a similarly lustrous track for reading minutes, seconds, and chronograph fractions of seconds. A little bit of a matte texture with a concentric pattern at each of the sunken registers. We have the leaf-style hands and a lot of Portugieser standards here. And since the original in 1939, a classical Portugiesers tend to have, well, small seconds, leaf hands, and then Arabic numerals, and this has all of the above. Now, of course, this is also a chronograph with a 30-minute register up at the top, so it adds a complication. 30 meters water resistant. You can see on the back, little IWC fish and 3-bar. One of the few modern IWC limited editions that features individual edition numbering. It doesn't say, for example, 1 out of 1,000. So that makes this watch a little bit more special. In rose gold, you have the image of the Chinese dragon, which historically is more long and snake-like than winged. This is a very Chinese dragon, not its European counterpart, which tends to breathe fire and fly. Underneath that, we have caliber 6933, Valfleurier designed, but IWC built. It's a drop-in replacement for the 7750 that powered the old Portugieser Chronograph 3714. So it has very crisp column wheel action. I'll go back to the column wheel right there. Very crisp. It also uses an oscillating pinion clutch system, just like the valve that preceded it. And the nice thing about an oscillating pinion is it gives you a lot of the benefits of a vertical clutch in that you could start it up with almost no jump. Look, when I push and hold the start trigger here, there's no extraneous motion. Oscillating pinions are a type of lateral clutch that have very little inherent play because the pinion is so small. So that's a feather in its cap. Automatic winding with a 4 Hz beat rate and a 46-hour power reserve. It also features stop seconds. It's adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. And you can see it pivots on 27 joules. It's also 30 millimeters in diameter, like the 7750. So it can be set in a case of this size and not look undersized. It also features Edicron for ultra-precise adjustment and regulation. If you love this watch, heck, if you just love the aesthetic of it, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.